Welcome, Leo and Leo Cross Watchers, to your reading for this week. Hope you guys are all having a great week, and please excuse my band-aid. I cut my finger open while I was organizing some spice. Some like little, putting the bags of spice into little bottles. So we have the Three of Swords reversed. Okay, I'm kind of getting a few different messages here, so let's see what else. What? Hold on for a second here. Leo, I think someone's gonna, it feels like someone comes in with a message that's kind of crappy, right? It feels like, oh, my hand's directly in the way. I kind of feel like somebody comes in here with a message, with a bunch of like drama, if you will. And it feels like like they may feel, it feels like someone's going to come in with like a really cutting remark or like a nasty insult. And it definitely does not have the potent effect that they were hoping it would. It's almost like someone comes in to try to really hurt you, and it's almost like you just stare at them like you may have heard them talking, but the words didn't land. You seem to be admiring something or someone. It's almost like, this may not be the actual situation, okay? It's almost like an ex comes back around to be a jerk about something or be rude and nasty. Try to, like, somebody that knows you well so they think they can hit you where it hurts, but you're already looking in another direction. So, like, what does it matter what they say? That's not, the advice. I feel like that's where you're at. I'm kind of getting this, like, I don't know who you think you are. But it's not even that. It doesn't feel like there's any animosity towards them coming from you. It feels like it's like indifference, right? Like, who cares? I'm getting this like old news sort of vibe. I really feel like there's someone that you are admiring. It could be that you're admiring their career, their work, or you could be romantic, but I'm not really feeling that. It feels more that it's like, let's say, for example, you're someone that believes that there should be an element of chivalry in relationships. You may have met someone that is chivalrous, and it's kind of like refreshing for you. Like, oh, that's really nice. So that's probably not describing that well, but it feels like it's that kind of a it's a little bit like you felt like people, like whoever this person is, that they didn't really exist anymore, like a diamond in the rough. And what's even more interesting to you, at least, is that they don't see themselves that way. They see themselves as like a very simple person. They like simple things. And I feel like you're looking at them like they really don't understand how kind of incredible they are. They seem to be somebody that works incredibly, incredibly hard, but they see it like it's nothing. And you're looking at them kind of having a hard time believing that no one's ever told them that actually what they're doing is pretty great. That's what it feels like. Hold on for a second here. It just feels like there's some counter energy, like something that's wants to come in and ruffle your feathers and kind of rock the boat a little bit, and I don't really understand why. I feel like this person, not to be dramatic here, but they feel like, oh, come on. Yeah. They feel like an agent of chaos. So we got the Ace of Wands, Three of Swords upright, and the Queen of Swords, which usually has a very cutting tongue. So I feel like it's just kind of confirmation that It's like this person wants to come to you with like fire and brimstone, and you're like, no, 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 everything's great. What do you want? Like it's that kind of an energy, and they're like, no, no, come to the, they want you. I feel like this person, if it was a romantic relationship, that they were very controlling. It feels like they may have been, they always needed to be the dominant one. They always had to be the best. They always had to win the arguments. They always had to, like, I'm getting exhausted just kind of feeling that energy, to be honest with you. It feels like everything was a battle. And they seem to, like, it feels like they would hurt you 2 times for every 1 time that you hurt them. And it feels like you may have like fumbled and made a mistake and hurt them by accident, right? Like that happens in relationships. Sometimes we let people down, right? That's a normal, nobody wants to, but I feel like you didn't want to. You did certain mistakes, and then they would come back at you with like the full brunt of their horribleness. I shouldn't say it like that. I'm sorry. It feels like then they would, it's like all of the hurt that they've experienced in their life would come out at you as vengeance, right? So it wasn't like they were responding even in kind. They were just kind of trying to blow you out of the water here. And what's interesting is I feel like if you tried to bring up their stuff, it's almost like they would immediately crumble and like pull the victim stuff, and like they knew how to tug on your heartstrings, or they knew how to explain it away using like certain situations or stuff in their past as an excuse. And I feel like you were understanding for a while, but they pushed you too far. And I feel like there still is some stuff going on with you from this experience with them. I feel like you have turned it around, but there are still a few scars that have been left behind. It's not even that. It just feels more like it's almost like this person was able to treat you that way. It's like they were able to treat you so terribly because they weren't there because they cared about you. It's just they really loved how you made them feel. And Leos, if you've never been in a connection with someone that has strong Leo, it can be very yeah, I've never had a connection with a Leo that didn't like try to prop up the people around them and made sure that those people knew how they felt about them. You know what I mean? And I feel like they seem to have gotten a little bit, I almost wanted to say like addicted to that feeling. And then when you were no longer, when they kind of pushed you too far with all of this tit for tat nonsense, you just started to like distance yourself. And it's like, and then they tried to use these like, I almost wanted to say like horror tactics to get you to turn back around. And it's like, and it just confirmed that you needed to back away and back away even more. And I feel like it's almost like every time you would kind of come in with a peace offering, they would want you to, like they'd want you to suffer for it. It feels like they wanted to bring you to heal. If that, not in like, oh, they wanted to bring you so they could heal you and love you. It's more like they wanted to bring you to your knees. They wanted to bring you so that you were like subservient or gross. Sorry. That's just such a, anyway. They wanted you to like kneel before them type deal. And like, hello. It just feels like this person, for some of you, they may have had, it feels like they had something going on the side, but please wait, wait, wait. It doesn't feel necessarily that they were actually doing anything with those people. It feels like they just kind of, because they're like, they need so much adoration, and like they just kind of need this constant stream of affirmation. They always kind of had a couple people that they had their eye on. So they may not have even been conversing with them, but they always kind of had their next, I wanted to say like their next victim in their sights, which I don't really like saying. I'm trying to find a better way to say that. They, they always kind of had a couple of options about where they could go if things didn't work out for you, even if they hadn't actually like had a conversation with that person, but they knew who they would approach if, the river of love from you was stopped. And I kind of feel like whenever you would apologize, this person, it's like they would double down, and instead of like dealing with the one issue at hand, they'd want to talk about everything else that's already been addressed. There seems to be one arrow in their quiver, so to speak, that really they brought out a lot. And it's almost like it was overplayed, right? Like you did something at some point, or it feels like it's almost like someone at work like approached you or kind of came on to you, and this person got wind of it, or at least that's how they interpreted it, and they always try to throw that back in your face as something you've done wrong, even though I feel like you were the one to show them and be like, look, this is just letting you know, you didn't hide that from them. I'm going to be honest. I feel like for some of you, when this person did that you were like, the two of you were in the throes of an argument and you were done and you let them think what they wanted to think about it. And I feel like it just kept coming back around. Like they would never, it's almost like once they got that in their mind that that's what it was, they were completely unwilling to think any differently about it. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do. You could be at a completely different job and delete all your social media and get rid of your cell phone and all that type of stuff, and they would still bring that up. It's that type of an energy. Oh, lots of messages for you guys. Okay. I think we're just going to get, what is the near future for Leo? Oops. Okay. Well, so we have the Five of Cups, the Hermit, and the Two of Swords. I'm just going to move this over here. I feel like some of you are going to doubt yourselves. I'm going to be honest. I feel like if there was a lot of negative dialogue coming from this person, like if this was a relationship where you were kind of constantly being berated, or constantly like somebody was talking down to you and telling you how bad you are at this and how bad you are at that. You know what I mean? It's like you couldn't cut the cucumber correctly. You couldn't boil water properly. You couldn't wipe you know what I mean? Like if everything that you did was wrong, I feel like there's a certain element of that type of negative self-talk you're going to have to like deprogram yourself. And I feel like at first it may start as you feeling really bad about yourself. And it's almost this energy of like, that may have been how this person kept getting people to come back to them, because it's like this pattern of behavior of making you feel bad about yourself. And then it's almost like there's something about not their validation necessarily, but them making you feel like they're the only person that'll want you. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like there's some of that talk that they've been doing that may have kind of gotten, latched on to you a little bit. And I feel like there is a part of you that it's not going to feel good to work through all of that. And I feel like the part of it that actually may be the most challenging for you is accepting that you've allowed that you allowed someone to treat you that way, that you let it get as bad as you did. And I'm going to encourage you, there's nothing wrong with knowing that you deserve better and admitting that to yourself. But I'm going to ask you to not let yourself fall too far down into that well, because the further you fall, the harder, or not the harder, but the further you have to climb to get out of it. And I feel like, listen, if this is the situation, it obviously has been quite challenging for you. So it's not like if this was a long-term relationship, it's not like a couple weeks and you're going to be completely fine and reprogrammed and it's all going to be over, right? I feel more that as you're kind of working through all of this stuff, there's something that you're missing. I feel like you kind of need to give yourself a little bit of grace, and a little bit of kindness. I feel like if anybody else in your life was going through this situation, your immediate response would be like, you cannot blame yourself for that. You cannot blame yourself for somebody else being a complete a-hole. And I feel like that may be something that you're not ready to, like, you're not ready to love yourself for that, or like love yourself in spite of all that, because you feel like you should have known, you feel like you should have done better. It's almost like, I think if that negative talk about your capability was coming from them, I think it got more under your skin than you might realize. And I feel like you may have wanted to just like push those thoughts away all the time. And I feel like there's a little bit of an encouragement to like, if you're, let's say for example, you're chopping a carrot and it doesn't go well and like something falls on the floor or whatever, and you hear a voice say like, oh, you can't even do that right. I'm going to ask you, is that your voice? Because it doesn't feel like it is. It's almost like there's something about the inflection and the tone and the it's almost like if you were to say it out loud, there would be poison dripping from your lips, like the venom that's being spewed. I'm going to ask you, like, is that how you talk? Is that what you say to people? Oh. So if it isn't how you would normally talk to other people, it actually isn't. It didn't originate with you. It was planted there by someone else. And it's like, Game of Thrones reference here. Those things you're going to have to pull out root and stem. And it's okay if sometimes you don't really feel like you just don't really feel like you have it in you to do it, right? Like the healing process, or, removing what doesn't serve you, whether it was put by other people or not, it is a process. So, I think I'll leave it there. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.